from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Just a postscript to our discussion about Henry Hyde's name being removed from the DuPage County Judicial Building. This is stunning. Mike Scott mentioned in his newscast some Democrats oppose this move as well because they understand the political implications. Red Diaper David Axelrod, and I agree. My gosh, I think that the Earth is going to stop revolving around the sun here.
The room is shaking right now.
David Axelrod, Red Diaper David, posting on X yesterday. A county board in Illinois, like he doesn't know which one. A county board in Illinois voted to strip Representative Henry Hyde's name from a courthouse because of an 80s law he wrote limiting Fed funds for abortion. I disagreed with Hyde, but he was an honorable man, a World War II vet who devoted his life to service. Regrettable move.
Wow. Too bad he didn't show up at the board meeting for public comment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right.
He didn't know what county he was in.
Yeah, right. Right.
Please.
Yeah, he ran Barack Obama's campaign here, for goodness sakes. But anyway, the point is that it's funny. Illinois Republicans can't recognize what an overreach this is, but David Axelrod can. Maybe that should, have your spidey senses tingling, Illinois Republicans. Anyway.
This is why Trump won the election.
Back to DOGE. Musk's press avail in the Oval Office yesterday with President, again, Trump, included a number of interesting anecdotes. This one is wild. The limit on the number of people from the federal government who can retire in any given month because of the way retirement paperwork is processed by said FedGov. Take a listen.
One of the things is we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this obviously there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, let's if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually I think a great anecdote because we were told the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we take those people and say, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else, and you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way.
700 plus mine workers operate 230 feet underground to process about 10,000 applications per month, which are stored in manila envelopes and cardboard boxes. The retirement process takes multiple months. You have to see, and I just posted on X.
I can see it right now.
There's a video of this Iron Mountain data center, like a guy in a golf cart, like it takes you around to show you this facility. I can't tell if this is the federal government data center or Blofeld's lair in You Only Live Twice. I mean, it looks like something out of a Bond movie.
Yeah, and the left-wing media thought, he's crazy, he's talking in tongue. But in 2014, the Washington Post did a investigative report about this, calling it a sinkhole of bureaucracy. So this is a real place thing. This is a real thing.
Yeah, but, sinkholes of bureaucracy become invaluable public assets when Trump is the president, or any Republican for that matter. For more on this, pleased to be joined again by Republican Senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson. Senator Johnson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Morning, guys. I'm here in Washington, D.C., looking out at 6 inches of a beautiful blanket of snow covering Washington, D.C. I like snow, but listen, I am, for one, just overjoyed with what Elon Musk is doing here. You mentioned the Washington Post had pointed out this limestone cavern for these federal records. We'd point out the same thing as when I was chairman of Homeland Security, Government Affairs. We talked about this. The beauty of having Elon Musk in place is he has this blowhorn that he can break through the legacy media and present this to the public, and now the public is aware of it. So that's going to happen across the board time and time again. You start out with USAID. He will be pointing out the waste, fraud, and abuse in all these agencies. It's going to be up to Congress to, suck it up and, at a minimum, return to some pre-pandemic level of spending. Right now, this year we'll spend about $7.3 trillion, having spent only that was spending way too much, but $4.4 trillion in 2019. I mean, think of that. We're up to $7.3 trillion, and the House is having, God bless them, appreciate their efforts, but they're having a hard time coming to the grips with reducing that by about $250 billion, from 7.3 to a little over 7 trillion. I've laid out some proposals to go back in time, take a look at, for example, Bill Clinton's spending in 1998 when he actually had a surplus, increase that by the population growth, inflation, slot in today's Social Security, Medicare, and interest. We'd be spending $5.5 trillion. Go back to Obama in 2014, it'd be 6.2. Even 2019, if you just inflate that, population growth, inflation, again, this year's Social Security, Medicare, and interest, that'd be $6.5 trillion, $800 billion less than we're spending. And the concerns in the House, the most they can get their conference to talk about is maybe reducing federal spending by $250 billion. So again, this is bureaucracy run amok. It's out of control. We need to start looking at the numbers. We need to bring this back to reality.
Yeah, and I mean the argument is so simple too. It's so frustrating. There's so many big spending Republicans in both caucuses, but most importantly right now the House. I mean, the numbers you're talking about going back, pre-COVID. I mean, were we living in the dark ages then? Without electricity, we couldn't. Seniors weren't getting their Social Security checks, and people were starving in the streets. No, of course not. I mean, it seems like such a straightforward, sensible case that you can make if you just have the temerity to make it.
Well, I've been making it. And, probably all my colleagues always talk about going back to zero-based budgeting, right? Well, unfortunately, that won't happen. But why not go to, $5.5 or $6 trillion based budgeting?
Yeah, right.
Again, I don't think Bill Clinton spent too little. Probably too little on defense, but that's okay. With his budget plussed up, we're at $5.5 trillion. That gives us $500 billion to plus into defense or veterans benefits or whatever. Again, use these as a base to adjust spending, but there's no justification for spending more than about $6 trillion a day. And we're going to be spending about 7.3. So we're going to mark up in the Senate Budget Committee today. We're going to mark up a budget. It's going to be based on $6.061 trillion. And the way we got that is one of the options I gave to Chairman Graham was just take Trump's last budget, his projection for 2025, again, use today's Social Security and Medicare. Those are exempt. We'll spend what we need to spend there, plus interest is what it is. That gives us the $6.061 trillion. That's the budget we're going to mark up. Now, getting spending down to that level is going to be pretty difficult because right now we have to use this budget to clean up the Democrats' open border mess. So we're going to have to spend more money to secure the border, to deport people, to defend this nation. We're going to offset it, though. I mean, we're insisting on real offsets. So we're not going to increase spending. But right now, actually getting down to $6 trillion, that's going to be a project for a couple months in the future.
Well, how is it that, Trump makes this, initiative, this EO, and then still last week, $59 million spent to house illegals in luxury hotels in New York? How is that allowed?
Because because the federal bureaucracy is out of control. Again, if you listen to the narrative of the mainstream media and the Democrats, this is just unacceptable that an unelected individual like Elon Musk is having access to this information. No, he's the representative of the duly elected president of the United States, and he's trying to go in to see what these other unelected bureaucrats in these agencies who undermine and sabotage Trump's first administration, who are undermining his orders today in his second administration, and the press is screaming about Elon Musk exposing this stuff.
Right.
No, that's, again, I just welcome what Elon Musk is doing. He's a genius. He's a genius at squeezing inefficiencies out of any process, out of organizations. Could not have a better person. Plus, he has that bullhorn that he can use effectively to wake up Americans in terms of how their hard-earned tax money is being wasted and abused, or the money we're borrowing and mortgaging their children's future, how that money is being wasted and abused.
Your colleague, Senator Mike Lee from Utah, on the federal judges that are interceding to stop Trump and Musk from reining in the bureaucracy. Mike Lee posting on X, these judges are waging an unprecedented assault on legitimate presidential authority, all the way down to dictating what web pages the government has. This is absurd. And a member of the House Republican caucus has filed a article of impeachment against one of the federal judges who's interceded. I mean, this seems to me, lawfare by other means now, not targeting Trump directly, but targeting Trump's actions and putting a spotlight on the judiciary and some of these politicians in robes. What can Congress do about it? And do you support potentially using the impeachment power?
Well, impeachment is certainly the one thing we can do with lifetime appointed judges. Again, highlighting it, pointing it out, making sure the American public is aware what these generally Biden or Obama or Clinton appointed judges are doing. Again, this is how Democrats operate. They know that their policies aren't popular enough to win elections, and so they undermine our courts by getting these lifetime appointments of people that are judicial activists. They're not judges. They legislate from the bench, and that's how they put forward policy. And they do it under the radar, things like sue and settle, doing it this way. But, again, so this is going to have to work its way out through the courts. But, Trump will appoint people. They can certainly consult with Elon Musk. This is going to move forward. Again, I could not be happier with how bold and how swift and how decisive President Trump is being in the first weeks in office. This is really breathtaking what he's doing, and the American public is noticing it. The Democrats are on the losing end of this argument.
I want to get your reaction to something Tom Homan said the other night on Hannity about these leaks that are coming ostensibly from some federal agency, maybe the FBI, as to ICE operations, and thus jeopardizing ICE operations and ICE officers. Here's what Tom Homan said.
The indications are this is coming from our own FBI. How certain are you of that?
Information leading to that. Again, I'll let the Department of Justice do their own investigation. But again, I talked to the Deputy Attorney General this week, and they've opened up a criminal investigation. He thinks the information is coming from there also, so we'll let that investigation play out. But some of the leads point that way.
Wow, that's really scary.
Homeland Security is one of your areas of focus. What's your reaction to the existence of these leaks and what Homan said?
I'm as outraged as Tom Homan is, and as every American should be. I'm glad that they've opened up a criminal investigation because it is a crime and is putting federal agents, their lives at risk. People need to understand what's happening here. But again, this has been going on within the deep state. Look at what happened to President Trump in his first administration. So this is nothing new. I fear this is just the tip of the iceberg of how the radical left, embedded in government, is going to resist once again. But again, we have just a huge advantage with Elon Musk on our team, using his bullhorn to publicize this. And again, good Americans, patriotic Americans like Tom Homan, Russ Vought in OMB. It's kind of a, people don't think of that. That's going to be a key position. But all these nominees, these are intelligent people. They are articulate, and they're fighters. And that's exactly what President Trump needs in his administration. We need to root out the deep state. They're not going to go quietly into the night. As I said, that President Trump really needs to appoint a Secretary of Information Extraction because they're not going to give their secrets very easily either.
Senator Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin. Senator, thanks as always. Appreciate your time.
Have a great day.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
So how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Going to be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again,